Hello everybody, we are here at LAX Coworking. We are about to learn how to Snapchat for business with our friend Sperry Media. LAX Coworking is everyone's favorite unpretentious local coworking space, and we hope that you enjoy this video. And if you ever want to find out why everybody loves us, you are more than welcome to come on in anytime, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. By the way, I am Kirby. That's Michael. He also works here. Michael wave. This is everybody who's here. Everybody say hi. Hello. And here is our host.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Scott Perry. I've been doing film and TV marketing for the past decade plus, and as such, I've also been a de facto consultant for the entertainment industry on how to make the best use of emerging social platforms. And so it was funny, like I was one of the first 400,000 people on Instagram, and thought that I was behind the curve on that. I was using Twitter in the days when you actually had to dial into 40404 to send out a tweet. And I was among the first to use Facebook after they dropped the .edu fence so that actual normal adults could come in. And in the past 4 years, Snapchat's become a really strong phenomenon amongst the youth. And as they approach going public in 2017, there's been a lot more keen interest on the business side of things. So I just recently wrote a book called Snapchat 101, Everything You Need to Know to Get Started on Snapchat, because this past spring I had a lot of adult friends going, hey man, how do you use Snapchat? Hey man, how do you use Snapchat? And there are a lot of tutorials available online, video, etc. But what happens is, when you're so close to the subject, you take things for granted. And so a lot of the kids, and they are kids, that show the tutorials online typically skip steps 1 through 9 and take you straight to step 10, assuming that you already know this stuff. Being an adult and being like a little bit more organized, I took it upon myself to take an analytical view of the Snapchat onboarding process and break down each piece so that as an adult you understand in a very easy to digest manner what is Snapchat and how to use it. So without getting into the details of like how to actually onboard a Snapchat, we'll dig in here. Why would you want to use Snapchat? Well, basically, right now they have 150 million daily active users, 60 million in the US, 50 million in Europe, and then 40 million elsewhere around the world. They get 10 billion daily video views. Now that might sound like a lot of numbers, especially for something that you and I can't see if you're not like on Snapchat on a regular basis. But anybody with children will see that Snapchat is a preferred method of communication amongst teenagers. And so they'll go back and forth just Snapchatting each other all day long. Not text, not Facebook, not Twitter, but Snapchat. And so they'll post up videos, make silly faces, etc., and just send them back to each other. So they send out 400 million daily snaps, and then there's 10,000 photos shared per second. Now, all that may sound appealing, but it's like, if all those numbers, raw numbers, weren't enough, one of the main reasons to be on Snapchat is because your kids and competitors are on it. But I mean, raw numbers aside, you really have to analyze and decide, is Snapchat right for you? I mean, Snapchat is a preferred platform among teens, at least, and then 70% of Snapchat's users are 18 to 25. But with each passing month, that age is creeping up more and more as more adults are coming on board to the Snapchat platform. But at the very least, in the early stages, you should sign up for Snapchat and you should reserve your username so that you've got that in your back pocket when you need to use it. And I recommend that for any...
Now it might not work.
Okay, there you go. That's great.
But it's going to fall over.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. So,
sorry, guys.
I mean, and I recommend this for any platform of any sort. Even if it's just a brand new emerging platform, you don't have to commit a lot of time and energy into it, but at least go in and reserve your name so that when you need it, when you need it, you have your name. Let's see. Now the challenges with Snapchat is you cannot post a live link on Snapchat. You can post an image, you can post a text web link, but it's not a live link that actually links out to your product or your website.
As in they can't click on it?
You can't click on it. You cannot click onto something to jump out of Snapchat and onto your website. Gotcha. Engagement is not as active and obvious as on Facebook, because with Facebook you see the number of likes and shares and comments you get at any given time. The metrics are limited. So there may be a different solution on the enterprise level with like big paying customers, but as an individual using this thing, this is about the only metrics you get. It's like when you actually pull up your images and see how many people have viewed it and who those people are. You don't get a breakdown by geography. You don't get a breakdown by demographic or sex or age or anything like that. So unlike Facebook and other tools, it's really hard to target. It's hard to target your advertising based on that. And then, of course, it's all phone-based, and it's all mostly live. So there's not exactly an enterprise dashboard solution yet, even though internally Snapchat has their own dashboards. Third parties are making dashboards. I hear Media is developing one. And a recent one that just has been in process for the past year went public, Snapalytics. So if you look up Snapalytics on Google, you'll see articles that came out yesterday about their public enterprise dashboard solution. So understand what you hope to get out of Snapchat before you go in, and you invest your time and money accordingly.
Do you invest money in Snapchat? Are there things you can put money into?
Yes, there are. There are advertising vehicles that you can put money into. And I'll get to that in a moment. Like especially on the local brick and mortar area, there are these things called geofilters, which are really great for branding. And then if you want to spend large amounts of money, like a Fortune 500 company, then yeah, you can buy lenses and filters and all these other things that can really advertise your brand. But there's very little click through in that area.
Technical difficulties. Thank you. Wait, but the mic is at the bottom. That's why we can't cover it.
There we go. So yeah, when you're getting started on Snapchat, there's only really, it's like basically, you do the same thing as you would with any platform, really. If it helps too. There we go.
Yay!
Yeah, I mean, you follow the influencers and celebrities and
progress,
brands, a lot of which you can look up on Google to see who are the most active influencers and celebrities and brands, and test the features and engage with other users. Now, when you first sign up to Snapchat, they're going to ask you to use your location. And you say yes, because if you use a location, that enables geofilters. And then when you see the geofilters, you see what are brands doing with the geofilters and how can you use that to accommodate your brands. When you follow influencers and celebrities, you can see how are they using Snapchat and how can you follow similar methodologies for your brand. But yeah, you enable your location and you also enable your contact list so you can find people within your contact list whom you already know. And then that way you can develop your initial following base, because there's no public directory for Snapchat. People are not going to find you unless you promote yourself. Unlike Instagram, where they may suggest other users based on your likes and interests. Snapchat's a very closed marketplace, closed platform. So you're only going to find people you seek, and the people that follow you are only people that kind of know you, unless but they don't actually do the marketing for you. And also it's also good to connect directly with one or two close friends, so you can both test out these features privately amongst yourselves. And the good thing is, don't worry about any legacy issues or being embarrassed about your first post, because all your posts disappear in the 24 hours anyway. So you get to try out other different features within Snapchat and understand, the cadence and how it's used and all that. Because with Snapchat, you can only really do three things. Snap, which is actually take a picture or a video and mark it up and post it. You can send that snap privately to friends via chat, or you can send it publicly to a section called Stories. And so within the markup area, there are things you can do, but these are the only real three things you can do as a Snapchat user. But with each one comes different levels of complexity. Like within this snap right here, you have geofilter, regular filter, emoji stickers, text, and you'll notice around here all these little red lines are doodles. And all these are enabled via the emoji sticker button up here, the text button up here, the doodle button up here, and then to get to the geofilters like Santa Monica here, you actually have to swipe your screen left or right to see the different filters. And the different filters can involve geofilters like Santa Monica, a regular filter like speed, temperature, altitude, or sepia tones to get different effects on your picture. And then down here you've got a little timer to show how long you want that picture to show up to 10 seconds. Here you can save it into memories, and then here you can automatically add it to your public story. Now, if you press this button, it gives you the functionality to send it directly to individual friends, or to stories, or to both, depending on which of these buttons you click on the side. Now, within chat, you can just go to your address book and choose friends you want to chat with, and then within that, you can actually do live conversations, still pictures, videos, text, emojis, and stuff like that. And then all this is private one-on-one communication. And then within stories, this is broadcast communication. And this is where a lot of business uses come into be, because you're taking these snaps and putting them together into stories. Now, a snap is only viewable for 24 hours before it disappears. And when you send a snap into chat, it's viewable for 24 hours after somebody's opened it up, and it's only viewable once, maybe twice if you click on it again. With stories, the stories actually connect all the snaps together into a chronological narrative, so that you can create a story that's viewed by other people. If you're touring a real estate area, you can drive around and go, well, here's what this building looks like, and here's what the docking port looks like, and here's what the driveway looks like, and here's what the facilities look like. If you're getting a tutorial on saving money and finance, you can do a tweet storm where basically you're going through a tutorial, preferably on a whiteboard or a piece of paper, to say, here is how accumulated interest works, and here's how much money you stand to make over 40 years of savings. So you can do this stuff. But yeah, listen before talking, understand the cadence of the product itself, and play around with it. Understand how to use the stickers, the emojis here, the doodles, the filters, and the lenses. And the most important thing you can do once you felt like you've mastered the basics is let people know that you're on Snapchat. Because Snapchat is a closed environment, you have to point people to Snapchat to follow you. And they offer you your username, which mine is Scott Perry, snap code, which is this little image right here, which you actually, in order to follow somebody on a snap code, it's really crazy. It's not natural for adults, but what happens with the snap code is it's a very easy way to find somebody, because all you have to do is just hover your phone over the image when you're in Snapchat, and then press that image, and it lets you know that you follow that person. So it's a great.
It's basically like a Snapchat version of a QR code.
Exactly,
right?
100%. And so the snap code, the username, and then they also offer you a URL like snapchat.com/Scott Perry, so you can include that in the bottom of your emails or on your website, in your storefront, wherever. So yeah, you can take your snap code, save it to your phone, and then send it out. And the crazy thing is, if you want to follow people, you usually type in their name or their snap code to find them. But you'll find a lot of times you'll get a lot of people following you, and you have no idea who they are. In fact, they don't offer an exact count of how many followers you have. So I get a couple followers on a daily basis. I mean, I'm not an internet celebrity. I'm not a kid. I'm not doing tricks every day to foster that audience. But I mean, invariably, I always have a couple people add me every day. And the crazy thing is, Austin Lupo, I'm like, who's that? So in order to actually see who that person is, I have to follow them first and see what they're posting and go, who's that guy? Do I want to follow him or whatever? But then if they haven't posted in the previous 24 hours, then I have no idea who they are, what they look like. So it's an odd one. It is an odd one. But there are things that play well to their audience.
I have a quick question about
sure.
the snap code.
Yeah.
So QR codes, no one uses them.
Right.
So are snap codes actually far outstripping QR code users?
Way outstripping, yeah, because they are native to the original audience for Snapchat. They are far outstripping QR codes because it's within Snapchat itself. Like for somebody to download a third-party QR code and to use that to scan over a snap code, to scan over a QR code that takes you to Amazon or Radio Shack or wherever it is you want to send them, that was one thing that never caught on. But a lot of things that adults find counterintuitive are very natural to Snapchat users because they aren't encumbered with the behaviors that we had growing up. So, previous to Snapchat, 98% of video was all horizontal based. but now it's a lot more that's vertical based. I mean, things aren't natural to us, but it's like it's becoming more mainstream and commonplace. Adding filters and stuff like that. It's like, well, that was never part of our parlance, but you find companies as large as Facebook taking these direct attributes and adding them to their own platform now. Like if you play with Instagram stories, you'll see you can mark up your images on Instagram with doodles and text. You'll see on Facebook, they bought a company called Masquerade that allows you to do these face masks that have become popular on Snapchat itself. But in understanding like what are the key attributes among the most popular people on Snapchat, they tend to be aspirational, so they're doing things that other people want to do, like traveling around the world or enjoying a great meal or hanging out with their friends. They're authentic, so they're true to themselves no matter what, and they espouse this on a regular basis. They're fun, and they're engaged, so they'll actually snap back to a lot of people that have chatted with them on the platform, and they're consistent. One of the big issues with us as adults is we don't have time. There may be a platform fatigue. You're already on Twitter, you're already on Instagram, you're already on Facebook, you're already on YouTube. Why do I need another one of these? So Instagram might not automatically be in your wheelhouse until it has to be. So you can afford the time now to at least play with it and understand the mechanics and have a presence. But then there may come a point where it does become a direct channel for you, because 4 years ago when Snapchat just started out, it was only an ephemeral messaging app where you could take a picture, hold your thumb on the screen, and then it would disappear after like 8 or 9 seconds. That was it. But in recent years, they've added the doodles, they've added the video features, they've added a lot more deeper chat, and they've added the stories to where it's becoming a lot more valuable to somebody out there. But the fact that you can't send out a live link, and the fact that you can't measure this stuff as effectively as other channels makes it a little bit inhibitive right now, but that doesn't mean that's not going to change, because as they go public next year, they're going to have a lot more key functionality to attract adults and to attract brands spending money to reach the audience. But yeah, when should you post? Post when people are looking. Early morning before they go to work, or while they're still in bed, or after work at school. Posting often gets you to the top of the list, because when you open that stories page, it'll show in the very top all of the people you follow who have posted most recently in chronological order. So if somebody posted something a minute ago, that's going to show up on the very top. But the thing is, if you're posting too often and you're not telling a compelling story, you're going to get ignored. Because, there are some people I follow, they'll post 40 times a day because they're up on some great adventure, but they're also dealing with the minutia of that story and that adventure, and it just gets to be boring. It's like, when do we get to the punchline? When do we get to the reward? This is just like, it's exciting for them. It might be exciting for their followers, but for somebody with a low attention span like myself, it's like, it's wasting my time, But if you follow somebody like DJ Khaled, who's like one of the biggest celebrities on Snapchat, he goes way deep into his life, and it's like, dude, I get it.
Is that the guy that just Snapchatted his baby being born?
Yeah, to his own music.
Yeah.
Whatever. He's respected. I appreciate his message of positivity, but that dude overposts. It's like, but then again, he's got a following that commands that. You can look at his viewership numbers, or he can look at his viewership numbers and realize, how many people are viewing that, how many people have taken a snapshot of that snap, how many people are commenting. So he's got a lot more higher engagement. But if you follow his day-to-day, it's almost the same routine. It's like, okay, so he's going to get a massage in the morning. He's going to have his maid prepare his fruit bowl. He's going to get a haircut. He's going to go walk out on the lawn and pet his stone lions. He's going to have he's going to do a meeting about Ciroc vodka. Anybody out there, text if I'm wrong, but this is typically his day. Then he'll go into the studio and lay down some beats. Then he'll take a marketing meeting about another brand that wants to spend money with him. And then he'll go out to a show. Yeah, it's like, very positive message, very cool, but highly over-posting, or at least, it's good for his audience, but you've got to measure what time you put in and what you get out of it. But regardless, consistency is key. If you can't post every day, then maybe you make appointment viewing where you know that every Tuesday afternoon you're going to give a Tuesday afternoon tutorial about something. So, it's just like appointment viewing that you can send people to from your other channels to get a message on a regular basis. But yeah, you can test the content and test the time and different measures to see what's working and how it's working, and what's resonating and what you can double down on.
I have a video question.
Yeah.
So I take it there isn't a length cap on video?
I think there is. A video can last up to 10 seconds, but you can strip together multiple 10-second videos so that you've got a longer narrative that goes on. Like a local VC named Mark Suster, who runs Upfront Ventures, does these really great tweet storms about tutorials on different levels of the fundraising experience. And so he'll stitch together, dozens of these 10-second videos step by step on what it is you need to do. Now there is talk of Snapchat going more long form videos, so those caps may be lifted soon. But for right now, there is a 10-second limit per snap on the video, but then you can stitch them all together into a longer story.
Is there live streaming, or is it just the videos and photos?
Semi. I mean, like the second you record it, it goes up. But that's another thing they're working on too, is actually having live streams, so that where you don't have to actually take it and then post it. Because at least when you record the 10-second video, you can mark it up with like the doodles and the emojis and the text and all that. But yeah, a lot more people tend to be doing live streams, so as such, there's no doubt that Snapchat's going to follow suit in that area and allow just unlimited live streaming, especially of certain events and people and all that. So it'll come to be. It will come to be. So what else do we have
Do
here?
you have a question? You come
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what should you post? Well, no matter what you post, always create content that's authentic to you and your audience. So if you are an adult business person, it doesn't make any sense to dress up as like Sideshow Bob and do like clown tricks, I mean, it's cute for your friends and family, but if it's not consistent, you don't have to do silly tricks to try to appeal to the kids, It's like be yourself and have fun with it. Definitely, be silly to an extent if you want, but open up, confess, and inspire, because the biggest problem with today's society, quite frankly, is we're all broadcasting our successes, but very rarely do people talk about their failures and the challenges associated with getting to be where you are and how hard it is to close a deal and what you're trying to do and the steps it takes to get there. So actually going through that process and being honest is appreciated by people. I mean, like when you're broadcasting your ego to attract others, you want to put your best face forward. But when you're dealing in a medium like this that focuses on such personal one-on-one connection, it's okay to cry. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to like show what's going on in the world. But you have to measure that. Like what's going to be truthful and then what's going to backfire if you happen to go be too real, So it's stuff like that. But a lot of people tend to show how the sausage is made. It's like, if you own a bakery, you can always show the final product, but it's also cool to actually go in the kitchen and snap step by step how that cake was made and how these things are going on and how an event came together. Behind the scenes and backstage footage are like really a big deal, especially for bands, because there's a lot of downtime on the road. Again, it used to be everything had to be stylized and perfect, but now kids appreciate the honesty of it all. It's like looking out from the bus window to see nothing but flatlands between Dallas and Abilene, and talking about how great last night's show was, but you know what, you really miss your wife and kid at home. I mean, those things resonate with your followers. I don't recommend getting too deep into the day-to-day mundaneness of the world, but a little honesty is appreciated. And as you build an audience, interviews and questions and answers are really a good way to engage. Like you can encourage people on one day to go, hey, reply to this snap, send me your questions, and I'll answer them tomorrow in a snap storm. So that's great. Having two people sit down at Taco Bell and like throwing quizzes at them, like, okay, what are the ingredients in our new, I don't know, Doritos taco? And it's like in this, and if the person guesses that right, guess what? They win a taco. But like playing with people, it's like. I mean, it's like if you're Taco Bell, how many different ways can you dress up your menu and make it look appealing to people? You have to branch out to the lifestyle itself. I mean, you think about Red Bull, I mean, how many times can you show a can and show, okay, it's pink water, that's cool. But what Red Bull does through all their video channels, they exhibit the lifestyle associated with it and makes it aspirational, and Snapchat's no different for them. Snap storms and structured stories are a real big deal, especially among business people. Like I said, Mark Suster from Upfront does a really good job in showing different activities associated with fundraising. Tips and recipes, also great, because recipes especially, it's like you can show the products and then step by step, here's how you use the product, and boom, 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 and you get a lot of reviews on that. Sneak peeks and big reveals, like if you know that you're going to have a video trailer going live tomorrow on YouTube or Facebook or something else, you can give a special treat to your Snapchat followers and go, here's a little peek at what we have going on tomorrow. So it's just stuff like that to feed all the other stuff. Discount codes are great because what you can do is go, you have to prepare people for discount codes or any type of activity or action because snaps within a story only are up to 10 seconds long. You might want to pepper the previous snap to say, all right, in the next snap, we're going to show you, we're going to give you a coupon code so you can get a free cookie with your lunch. So get ready on the next snap, take a screenshot of that snap and bring it into our store in the next 24 hours. So by preparing them to take a screenshot of that snap, one, that prepares them to do so, and two, you can actually measure the engagement rate on that snap because through what limited metrics they offer from from your phone, you can see how many people have actually taken a snap of that or taken a screenshot of that snap right here. You can see how many people viewed it and how many people took a snapshot of it.
And to clarify, those snaps last for 24 hours?
Well, basically all the snaps last for 24 hours. And stories especially, it's like, the stories will put together all of your snaps from the previous 24 hours, mm-hmm. and then they each disappear chronologically. So if you post one at noon, it disappears at noon the next day, one, et cetera, et cetera. So if you tell people to, if you offer them a discount, tell them to take a snapshot of the next, a screenshot of the next snap, then, maybe, and because it's a snap, you can write on there, this expires Saturday at noon or something like that. So they don't just bring it in every day going, all right, where's my cookie? It's like, dude, that was like a year ago. Quit it. So there's that. But basically, these are different, different ways to engage with the audiences using the Snapchat platform. Of course, also build an audience first. But use Snapchat to interact with your audience. And again, it's like when you really develop an audience that's engaged on a regular basis. Because if you're going out there speaking to an empty universe and you get no answers back, then it's like, well, this is a failure. I don't want to do this again. But at least if you feel like your audience is engaged enough to want to ask questions, because some items can be very esoteric and nobody wants to answer anything. But at least it's there. Ask for advice. It's like, okay, do I get the blue shirt or the red shirt? Which one do you like better? We're about to decorate the office for our Christmas party. Which do you prefer, these lights or these lights? Should we go with a Stranger Things theme or should we go with Fantastic Four? Just whatever it takes. Live chat with customers. Basically as they come in, it's like, hey, what'd you get today? Well, that's maybe a little bit too much. But anyway, show and tell us your what is your favorite song off the new album? Reply to this snap and we'll let people know. What was your favorite Halloween outfit? Reply to this snap and we'll re-snap it and send it out to everybody else. Cross promotions and takeovers are a huge way to build your audience. And what you do with cross promotions and takeovers is collaborating with other influencers. And that's a big deal because a Snapchat influencer may have X number of followers that could be potential customers for you. So you want to pay that influencer to promote your brand. And so they either do that by holding up your product within their own Snap stream, or they actually take over your channel for like maybe a 24 or 10 hour period, and they'll promote it on their channel to send those followers over to that channel. Like there's a Jack in the Box has been famous for using a lot of influencers. Was it Logan Paul who got paid like $200,000 to do snaps for Jimmy John's sandwiches? You don't have to spend that kind of money. There are local influencers. There are people with decent followings. But when you hire an influencer, ask for screenshots of their followings and like look for any anomalies. It's like, when you do a screenshot of not just one screenshot, but multiple screenshots to show a consistency about the number of people that are viewing it, the number of people that are like taking a snap of their images. Cross promotions and takeovers are a really big deal and involve like local influencers. If you're a national brand or you have a lot of money to spend, you can do that. And scavenger hunts are really fun, especially if you're a musician and you want to hide a pair of tickets somewhere in a town that you're in. It's really good because you can send people from Twitter or Facebook to Snapchat and go, hey, we just hit a pair of tickets in town, follow us on Snapchat to see where they are. And that's a great way to bribe people into coming in. And then after they've done that, some may drop off, but a lot of them stick around, so consistently tell the story afterwards to keep them engaged. And then when it comes to actually spending real money, this is where all that comes to play. Ads can be expensive, and a lot of it's national. Lenses can be expensive, and of course those are national. Like, I mean, Walking Dead, yeah, I think lenses tend to be like around $250,000 to $500,000 each per day, depending on the activation. But they're a great way to do really good branding, because not only am I, as the primary user, putting myself in the promotion for The Walking Dead, all of my followers are seeing that as well. So it's peer-to-peer marketing in its best way. And then the ads show up in between different snaps. So that's a good little commercial. And the content is usually tailored to be very specific to Snapchat. Like, it's not just a 30-second commercial you would see on TV. It's actually built in a way that plays into Snapchat's cadence and narrative. Influencers, again, those can be expensive on a national level, but you might be able to find some local influencers that can help push things. Like you can see here, Marriott Awards snapped me the other day, asked me how quickly I could get a passport. So they flew this guy to another town so he could experience the Marriott experience. And with that, it's like, yeah, the bribe is nice, but the money's better. But the one way you can really make a dent in all of this, especially if you are a brick and mortar account that appeals to youth, or you want to lower your age by branding to the youth, are geofilters. Geofilters are the single greatest untapped commercial opportunity for 2017. And I firmly believe that. Because geofilters allow branding for your brick and mortar business, or non-brick and mortar business, amongst the users for Snapchat. However, with geofilters, you cannot do a call to action. You cannot add a hashtag. You cannot put in a phone number or any personal identifiable information. You can only book geofilters up to 30 days in advance. You have to submit the geofilter for approval. You will not get an answer as to why it might have been declined. But geofilters are dirt cheap right now. For as little as $5, you can get a geofilter for 6 to 8 hours for a 20,000 square foot area. Your typical retail space for small businesses is about 2,000 square feet, so you get that fence around that as well. But what happens is, instead of somebody taking a picture of a cake at the bakery going, oh my God, what a wonderful cake that I just got from Porto's, all you do is you just swipe that filter and Porto's shows up, and it's just like that. So the principal user sees that geofilter, as well as their followers see that geofilter. So that's a really big deal.
So you can't put a hashtag or anything like that, but you could put your name and your logo?
You can put your logo, yeah, totally. I know it's crazy, but they don't want calls to action because it's very opaque. They don't always give you the exact reasons why they do what they do, but yeah, it's a really big deal. So that, in fact, a lot of chains will use geofilters. In fact, if you're playing with Snapchat, I recommend going to any shopping district at any time and just take pictures from Snapchat and then play with the filters to see who's there. You don't have to post that image, but just see who's paying. And right now, if you go down Old Street Pasadena or 3rd Street Promenade, you'll see Sephora and MAC and J. Crew and Banana Republic. But if you go down Main Street, Santa Monica, or Abbott Kinney, you're only going to see 3 or 4 of those hundreds of stores that align those streets. And they're dirt, like I said, they're dirt cheap. So the pricing is set up internally by Snapchat, and to set up a geofilter, in any other situation, this would be the thing. This would be the business where I'd be like, I can do your geofilters for you for X number of dollars. But quite honestly, the return on your investment is not that significant right now, and the cost for these things is not that expensive anyway. So it's really hard to bill against that. But geofilters have been primarily used by the users to celebrate weddings, parties, fraternities, sororities, and anything associated with that. So if you go through USC, up and down Fraternity Row, every single fraternity house has their own geofilter. Rush Week, there's specific geofilters for that. Hawaiian Party, there's a filter for that. Jane and Bob get married, there's geofilters for that. So they've tended to be used by civilians for celebratory processes to brand that event. And like I said, it's like, and these things have only been around for less than a year. And the do-it-yourself module has only been around for like maybe 3 or 4 months. Prior to that, you had to hire a designer who's going to charge you $50 to $100 to maybe approve a geofilter that might be approved by Snapchat. But now Snapchat has their own do-it-yourself tool. I think it's at snapchat.com/geofilters, where you can build out your own geofilters to use on a regular basis. So if you're at the Troubadour, you can actually put together a geofilter for that show that night. It'll cost you $5 from like 7 p.m. to midnight when people tend to be there. However, if you're trying to do a geofilter for a specific large-scale event, that space may already be taken by Snapchat. Like they realize this is a high-dollar event. We're going to sell that inventory ourselves to our brand sponsors, like the Emmys a month ago. I tried to hijack the Emmys by doing a geofilter for the Staples Center. Couldn't do it as a no-fly zone. They'd already cordoned it off. Didn't matter. They're probably selling that to Pepsi and M&Ms and stuff like that. So I hop on to look at other days to see if I can hijack the Staples Center. Normally, geofilters are dirt cheap, but certain high value properties have a pre-existing value to them. Like no matter what time of day, whether or not anybody's even at the Staples Center, they're invariably going to charge you $1,000 to do a geofilter over the Staples Center, at least. You know, so there's always that too. But you know, right now, the biggest trick is a lot of people are using geofilters to hijack events and to put their own branding out there. I mean, I hijacked the Abbot-Kinney Street Festival and had my own geofilter for like $80 for the day, which was great because it went from like Main Street all the way to Venice Boulevard, up and down the street. I got about 400 views or 400 uses and 4,000 views. So it's like, you know, like pennies per use, whatever. But I didn't have anything to sell, but it was just a nice experiment to see how it worked out. That may change in time because as they get more popular, people may realize that an event's coming up and they want to like lock it down beforehand, and there's only so many geofilters they can put in per event. So if you're not there 30 days prior, you might not get that space. Like I tried to do some for some other Emmy parties, but those were already sold out. So it happens a lot. But geofilters are actually one of the best tools you can use for commercial purposes, especially if you are a brick and mortar establishment that appeals to youth or are trying to bring down the average age of your clients by the use and branding of that. So I think that's really, yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions?
Let's end the video before
Okay.
we go to any more questions, but any final words?
Well, thanks for showing up, everybody. Y'all take care.
All right. Bye, guys.